Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Hello, my name is Dr. Himanshu Tyagi and I am teaching this course on heat in mass transfer. Today we will start a very interesting topic which is mass transfer. Before we do that, let us do a recap of what we had done in our previous lecture. So, the previous lecture was the last lecture related to radiative heat transfer between surfaces, and in that we had taken our analysis further, where we have already defined before that the surface resistance and space resistance. And what we did was we analyzed this particular relationship in more detail, which even though it looks very complicated, I can write it simply as current equals to voltage drop divided by R total. So, that is the beauty of these type of analogies which are available in engineering and scientific literature, that very complicated equations can be understood in very simple terms. So, once we do that, we can take numerical examples as well, and we did it in last lecture, and very quickly with the help of calculator we could get the result. Then we generalize that particular analysis of surface and space resistances, which are shown over here. So, I had motivated students and asked them the question that instead of having just 2 surfaces, what happens if we have 3 surfaces, then 4, then 5 and up till n surfaces. So, when I am talking of n surface, I can generalize the number of surfaces, and it is important because I can then computationally write a program and run a for loop from 1 to n and somehow automate the whole process if I have computational resources available with me. Even though if you look at the slide over here, it kind of looks little bit complicated, but if you remember in our last video, we started off with the very simple assumption that let me forget all other surface, start with only surface 1 and 2, then we moved on to 3, 4 and 5. So, in case you missed that lecture, please visit it once again, it was very interesting. And then we went on to our original problem and figured out that instead of it being consisting of black surfaces, this was our original problem, that the top surface, bottom surface and the side surface were at 3 different temperatures, and we wanted to figure out what is the rate of heat input on the top surface, heat input from the bottom surface and the heat removal from the side surface, assuming them to be non-black in this particular case. So, as is looking over here, kind of complicated resistance network, but believe me, once we were looking at it, it was turning out to be very simple, because we started from the basics. Just with 3 dots we connected it like this, then we made one resistance over here, one over here, one over here, then connected them in star shape like this, then wrote down all these resistance and voltage values EB1, EB2, EB3 and so on. So, if we have understood a concept properly, the end product may look very complicated to a third person, but we who have understood it, we can remember that each step what we were doing at that time, all those steps were very simple. But as teacher, I always try to challenge students, make it little bit more challenging once they have understood the concept. So, I gave the challenge that what would happen if the medium inside this container would to become participative, it would be filled with some gas or liquid. So, I answered that question myself, that if we have a participative medium, if it consists of some atoms, molecules in liquid, gas or solid form, and these are some of the common materials that behave participate in radiative heat transfer, then just the preliminary background of that I gave, started off with Beer's law over here, which is a simply first order ODE. If we solve it, we get an exponentially decaying function which is given on the right hand side. Then with the help of these curves and examples of swimming pool, light traveling in water, infrared radiation traveling in water, and with the help of this red arrow over here, which indicate direction in which absorption coefficient is increasing, I try to present a physical picture along with the mathematics behind it, that how does the intensity actually decay when it is going through a participative medium. After looking at that understanding, we looked at parameters, spectral parameters such as transmissivity, tau lambda, whose relationship turns out to be like this. This is the expression. Then we get alpha lambda, absorption spectral absorption, and spectral emission, which are same because of Kirchhoff's law. Then towards the end, I also provided a physical understanding of that important parameter, which was Ka lambda, capital Ka lambda, which stood for the absorption coefficient and had the units of meter inverse. That what does it actually, where does it come from? So, in for uniform medium having constant properties, it can be expressed like this particular relationship over here, 4 pi kappa by lambda. Then I explained where kappa comes from. So, this is part of the complex refractive index m, and the n is the index of refraction, which we are all familiar with because we have studied Snell's law of refraction in our school physics, and kappa is the index of absorption. So, that gives rise to capital Ka, and that gives rise to the decay in the intensity. So, then the whole medium become participative, and it would add to a certain amount of challenge in the radiative heat transfer problem. So, interested students can try and approach that problem, even though it is little bit advanced. So, I thought I will share it. With that, we have concluded that section of radiative heat transfer, and to my mind we have completed the three dominant modes of heat transfer, which was first conduction, then convection, then radiation. And the course of heat and mass transfer, the part on mass transfer is usually covered at the end, and it would have maybe about 3 to 4 to 5 lectures towards the end. So, sometimes students ask in class that why is not mass transfer given more weightage, and there is a very good answer to that, that once we have understood one mode of operation very nicely, and there is, if there is a similar mode of operation, in this case mass transfer is very much analogous to heat transfer, and also both of them are analogous to momentum transfer. Just to illustrate a point, so we have heat diffusivity given as alpha, momentum diffusivity given as nu, and we will look at today that there is the mass diffusivity given as d, and all three of them have the same units meter square per second. So, somehow with this natural phenomena explanation, it also explains that in 3 or 4 lectures what we will try and do is look at the analogies between heat transfer and mass transfer, and try and figure out that all the conduction laws and convection laws that we have looked at, are there some counterparts for mass transfer for those. So, that is the beginning of this particular topic. This is the motivation behind it, and students may understand that is why we are not covering it on a course on its own, which is usually done in chemical engineering, but for mechanical engineering we use analogies from heat transfer to understand mass transfer concepts. So, I started off this, wanted to start this particular lecture with this slide, and I think students who are following this course may remember I have shown this one time earlier also when I started the topic of convective heat transfer, and it is very interesting, appears very nice to me, and I am going to write the name of these two containers. It is container A and this is container B, and I put a question mark over here to ask students that what exactly is going on over here. So, I think it is a GIF file which shows two containers in which some yellow colored edible dye is added at the top over here at the start of the frame. So, at t equals to 0 in both these containers, yellow dye is added, and then slowly and slowly some sort of a diffusion is taking place. So, if I have to give a title to this particular slide, I might give that some sort of a diffusion is taking place. Then I may ask a question, is it a diffusion of heat, is it the diffusion of momentum, or is it actually the diffusion of mass? So, that diffusion of mass which can take place through a particular medium will be the focus of our attention in these next series of lectures, including today, and that is what we will look at mass transfer in detail. So, this diffusion could take place through a stationary medium like it is shown over here. It can also take place in a moving medium. So, those details we will study very soon, and today I may want to ask question to the student that what do they think is the relationship between the temperature of water in glass A and glass B. Just by looking at this particular video, can they put some sign between their these temperatures? Are they equal? Is this greater or that greater, or is the answer none of the above? So, these are things that I may ask students today, and I give of diffusion in real life, especially in stationary medium. So, I was thinking of, and I thought that there are a lot of examples which are given in literature, in book, in journal papers. I think we will go to the video mode now. And what we are seeing is that in real life, from my own experience, I can give one or two examples. Maybe one example is that if I walk into a room and then I can smell that some cooking is taking place in the nearby kitchen, then I think from memory, from our childhood, we are able to figure out that okay, what kind of dish is being cooked. Maybe if somebody is deep frying something, that we can by sitting in another room, we can predict that some sort of deep frying is going on, and the converse is also true. If sometime we put it has happened to me that put milk for boiling and then I put it on sim, but somehow I forgot it, totally lost it, and the whole thing actually burnt. So, the whole thing evaporated, the utensil became black. So, carbon char was there, and that day unfortunately the way I came to know is when the smoke was coming from the kitchen. So, it is very bad example. I had a tough time cleaning it that day, but that is the example of species transfer taking place through a stationary medium. Why am I calling it stationary medium? Because any of those days there was no blower or pump inside my room, inside my kitchen, which is forcefully transferring air from that particular point to this particular point. One example of mass transfer could be I can fill some water in this particular cup and move it 1 meter from here to there. So, that particular thing may involve a bulk motion of this particular fluid or a particular species or a particular thing which emits good smell or a tasty smell, or it may even emit certain smoke. But that is what we are not considering with the diffusion over here. Diffusion in stationary medium, the way we are trying to define it is that if let us say the particular video that we had shown earlier, that was the perfect example of diffusion taking place over here in stationary medium. So, why are we interested in this type of an analysis? One more example which comes to mind is that usually if there is a leak in LPG, so LPG by itself does not have any odor, but when the petroleum agencies like IOCL, HPCL, they supply it our home, they add certain chemicals to it, so that if there is a leak, because it is very combustible gas and some accident can take place, to allow people to figure out through the sense of smell that some leak is there, so that extra chemical is added to it. So, that also when it is spreading in some particular place, it actually spreads because of diffusion. So, that diffusion quantity in the stationary medium we will study, that will be the first topic that we will study in mass transfer. And later on we will look at very interesting things like if people want to drink some, let us say, cold beverage, some cold drink that we buy in the market, we want to drink it, then there is some sort of sparkle in that, we call it has been carbonated. So, we have learned through our experience that many of these companies, they add pressurized CO2 inside those cold drinks. So, we will also try and figure out why have they chosen to add CO2, why not oxygen, nitrogen, which is more abundantly available. So, physical constants will actually show us that CO2 is the one of the easiest way to create that bubbling effect which people like to consume because it gives them good sensation. So, that also we will try and study in this particular course. Another thing that we will look at is, even if something is sealed airtight inside a tank container, a tank shaped container, even then we can say we will be able to figure out that some molecules of gas may actually travel through that particular surface, through that particular thick sheet or even thick wall, and come out on the other side. So, diffusion may not just happen inside this room of one particular species in air, it may also happen of a particular gas through a solid. So, these 3-4 examples actually came in my mind, and I thought I will start with that just to show the direction in which we are going to go. So, with that, let me write 1 or 2 equations and then show what are the kind of things that we are going to study in this topic. So, the first thing I am going to write, let us go back to the slide mode, is the comparison between the heat transfer and the mass transfer equations. What I mean by that is that for conduction, we already have studied Fourier's law of conduction, which I can quickly write like this, and this name also I can write. This is the Fourier's law of conduction. Then what we will figure out very soon is that there is a corresponding law for mass transfer. So, this is the mass transfer due to diffusion, and this is known as Fick's law of diffusion. I am going to explain what each of these terms means, because students I think are already aware about the Fourier's law, but about the Fick's law, that is the new one that we will start learning today. But I think one thing is very clear from this particular slide, and that thing is that both these equations are actually very familiar, very similar. If I can indicate there is a flow quantity on the left side, here it is heat flow, here it is mass flow, then there is a constant over here which translates K is kind of similar to D, and then there is a gradient term over here where T is kind of similar to C. So, both are very similar equations. That is why we are going to make the help of that concept called the analogy. So, this was conduction. Now, let us look at convection. So, in convection we have Q dot convection is H convection surface area Ts T infinity, and we will figure out very soon that in mass transfer also we have similar term which exist. So, instead of H con it becomes H mass. I have not defined any of these new parameters. I have not told students what is D, what is C, but just go with me for 2-3 minutes, then I will tell. But just graphically you just see that this H convection and H mass are similar. AS is of course same. Then what about this difference in temperature, and then there is difference in C also. So, what is C I will tell in little while. So, here also we can say it is similar, isn't it? Then what was the third mode of heat transfer? Q dot radiation sigma A Ts to the power 4 T not T infinity, I will write T surrounding to the power 4. So, the only difference in heat and mass is that for radiative heat transfer we have a term, and for radiative heat transfer we have a term, but for there is no such thing as radiative mass transfer known to scientists and engineers. But if some student is inspired, they can figure out some if this thing happened in nature, but till now No such teleportation has been possible where instantaneous mass transfer takes place through the form of some sort of radiation traveling at speed of light. So, finite speed is required, some medium is required. So, mass transfer has a conduction analogy, convection analogy, but till date it has no radiation analogy. So, I will put over here no radiation analogy, which is known to scientists, but if students are interested in searching for it, it may come out someday, but not today. So, let us now try and see these two concepts. We will see first in step 1, we will look at the concept for conduction. Then in step 2, we will look at the concept for convection. Now, let me formally go and define some of these properties or parameters. I still do not want to define them now, because I want to first give a feel of what does mass transfer actually mean. So, what I am going to do is, today's lecture I will spend on this step 1, where I am going to focus on the diffusion mass transfer, which means I am going to focus on this equation over here, and which I will try to show to student is very similar to the conduction equation over here. So, the only thing I am going to write over here right now is that this C, which is shown in this equation over here, can I circle it? Yeah, this C is kind of an concentration. Some cases it can be called density also. In some cases it can also be called as the mole concentration as well. So, right now let me keep it undefined for the moment. It is just kind of a concentration. So, let us say if there is in some place lot of smoke is present and then that is slowly traveling over here. So, we can clearly say that at the origin of the flame of the fire, the smoke concentration is very high, but as you travel away from it, at that particular point the smoke concentration is low. Or if let us say cooking is taking place, somebody is cooking paratha in the kitchen, then inside the kitchen that aroma of paratha, that concentration is very high, and as they go far from it, the concentration is very less. If I go back to the video, look, when the video started, the concentration of the yellow dye was very high at the top, you can see it now. Then the concentration is becoming uniform throughout. So, diffusion is taking place. So, concentration was very high over here earlier, and then it is becoming uniform. So, I think from English language and our day to day experience, I think this word will suffice for now, that this C is some sort of concentration, and just as in conduction, if I take the analogy of heat transfer inside the wall. So, if temperature on this side, let us say is T1, temperature here is T2. So, let us say is 20 degree here, 80 degree here. Now, according to Fourier's law of conduction, some sort of a heat transfer is going to take place over here. So, if let us say the area is 1, thermal conductivity is 1, then we can immediately figure out Q dot, if this is the x direction over here, is going to be a positive number. It is going to be 60 watts, and the length also is 1 over here. What is driving this heat transfer? The conduction heat transfer is the temperature gradient. So, the driving force is del T by del x, or in other words it is temperature for heat transfer. If I am talking about mass transfer over here, I can say with surety that the driving force is change in concentration. So, concentration is the driving force over here. Sorry, there is something with the screen going on, but I will do it slowly. So, whatever role temperature is playing in heat transfer, the same role concentration is playing in mass transfer, which means I can draw a perfect analogy of this wall over here, and instead of, this is not a wall I am drawing, this is just some sort of a medium. So, I will call it a medium, and this medium could be a solid, it could be a liquid, it could be a gas. And what I am trying to show over here is, if I put these concentration numbers over here, so if I call it C1 over there, C2 over here, in such a way that C1 is greater than C2. So, let me take some example over here. Let us say the medium is air, and the concentration of that particular species that I am talking is, that concentration that I am looking is smoke, which means one difference is immediately clear between heat transfer and mass transfer, which is that in mass transfer we need to have more than one species. What do I mean by species? Type of molecules, type of elements, type of atoms, which means if this is my room and it is totally filled with air, which I am showing in white color over here, but the smoke particles let me show in black color. So, these are the smoke particles. So, I will write over here, these are smoke particles, okay, and wherever there is white portion, that is air, this is air, this is air, all the white portion over here, this is filled with air. So, in my room there are two species inside this particular room, species number 1 is air, species number 1 is smoke. I can take another case in which I have a glass of water. So, water we generally show in blue color, let me show in blue color. So, this is filled with water, it is pure water. So, in this particular glass there is only one species, that is water. Okay. Now, I do an interesting thing, I put 1 spoon of sugar inside this water, and that sugar I am showing in red color. Now, there are inside the glass 2 species, and this is some example that we have done all the time in our life. Maybe not in water we are mixing sugar, but every day in milk or in tea or in coffee we are taking certain sugar, then mixing it around. So, the way we do it is we put this, I am representing sugar in red color. So, please take care, water I am representing in blue color. So, this red lump of molecules I have put inside in the water, and then usually we stir it with a spoon. In reality, I do not need even to stir it, because what will happen after some time, let us say after 5 minutes, is the following. Just because of diffusion, water may look like this, this lump of sugar will become smaller, that is my claim. So, it may become little smaller like this, little less, and where has all that sugar gone? The remaining part, it will come over here, here, here and here. So, these red dots represent the location of sugar. So, these are, I can define now the concentration. So, you can see that close to the sugar lump. So, this is the lump of sugar, this is the sugar lump, very close to it the concentration of sugar, C of sugar, I can write is high. It is a relative word. So, I am not putting it mathematically, I am just saying it is high. Somewhere in between the C of sugar is medium. Again, this is a relative word, qualitative, and here the C value is very less, C of sugar is less. Do students agree with this example, that wherever that solid part of sugar is inside my cup, very close to that the concentration of sugar is quite high. Believe me, in this example, in the last 5 minutes, I have not stirred anything. I have just put in a stationary cup of water, I have just very carefully put little bit 1 spoon of sugar, and I am just waiting for 5 minutes. What is going to happen? Little bit of that sugar may reduce, which I can visibly see, and if I do some tasting tests by taking samples, Then at I can put some numbers names also over here. Let me use another color, maybe which color, red one. So, this one I will call as zone A, this over here dot is zone B, and this dot over here is zone C. So, I can write concentration of sugar in zone A is higher than concentration of sugar in zone B is higher than concentration of sugar in zone C, sorry. And it is the same thing that we would expect if for instance in a cup of water I would put some sort of electrical heater and start heating it. Then the water very close to the electrical heater, its temperature will be higher, a little bit away temperature is medium, very far away temperature is less. So, let me go ahead and show, that is a good example. So, if I am heating water with this particular filament over here, and this is point A, this is point B, the further from it the temperature reduces. So, water I will show in blue color over here. So, here I can write with confidence that temperature in point A will be higher than temperature at point B, which will be higher at temperature point C. So, now we can clearly see there is a lot of analogy in conduction heat transfer and the diffusion of species. In this particular case, left example, my species is, sorry, it is water and sugar, not water and red, it is water and sugar. So, the species is sugar, which is flowing in water, moving around, transport, diffusing, that is the correct word. And in this example on the right hand side, my species is smoke, which is diffusing in air. So, that is an interesting thing, that in mass transfer they can't just be one species, because if the room has no air, only full of smoke, then how will the diffusion take place? If I am not adding color to water, then I am adding just color to color, then there is no diffusion which can take place, which means I need some sort of concentration difference in concentration. Just like in order for heat flow to take place, I need to have difference in temperature, right. And in order to have difference in concentration, there must be something which is less at this point, something which is more, which means when something is less, there is another material which is replacing it. So, there are always two materials minimum, and there can be 3 and 4 as well, but for simplicity I am going to assume two materials. Now, we have understood the concept behind it, and we are on this particular slide on the right hand side. Now, the claim I want to make is, if we are having this concentration C1 higher than the concentration C2, which means let me also try and show it graphically. So, let me see if the screen works fine. So, here I am putting high concentration of the blue dot, and here I will put very low concentration of blue dot on the right side, and in between I will put medium concentration of blue dot. So, this is my attempt of showing that the concentration is very high on the left side, okay, and then so here the concentration is very high, medium, and then low, okay. This is what I am trying to show just for the benefit of student, but in reality I am assuming that the concentration is reducing like this black line over here. I will make it red so that the students can see what I am trying to tell. So, this red line or the black line which I am showing over here, it represents the value of C. So, let me give some number to C over here. So, I am not putting units because I have not defined concentration yet. So, here C is 80, at this point 20, in middle what will be the value? It will be 50. Here concentration 50 plus 20, 35, okay. Here is I think 65. So, there is a linear gradient in concentration, just like there was a linear gradient in temperature over here, right. It is 20 and 80 degree, in middle it will be 50 degree. So, if on the left side, if there is change in temperature which is leading to flow of heat, then what it predicts over here is, because of analogy, if there is change in concentration, that will lead to flow of mass. And what is flowing over here? The example I was giving was smoke inside the room. So, this concentration is 80 of the smoke. So, something is producing lot of smoke over here. So, I think boundary condition later on will tell us smoke is coming in from here in the boundary. there is some sort of a smoke generator or something is giving off smoke, that is maintaining the concentration at 80. It is not increasing with the time. This is steady state. Please remember, all this analysis we are doing. So, I will write in red over here. In the heat transfer also is steady state, right, and this example also steady state we are taking, because today is just the first day, first lecture, we are trying to see the basics of mass transfer. So, very simple we are taking. Then that means this smoke which I am representing now in purple line, purple arrows over here, it is travelling continuously and coming out from here. Just like in our heat transfer, at every place this value is 60 watt. Here it is 60 watt, 60 watt, 60 watt, 60 watt, and then come out also it will be 60 watt, right. And what will be the units of mass transfer over here? Mass transfer is simply mass flow rate, kg per second. So, it can be, maybe it is, I can write 1 kg per second, 1 kg per second, 1 kg per second, then it comes out, it is again 1 kg per second. It is difficult to see this situation happen in reality, because achieving steady state mass transfer, very nice equipment setup we have to create, but if we have resources we can definitely do it. It is not impossible. All we need is a constant concentration boundary condition on this side, constant concentration boundary condition on this side, and automatically after some time it will reach steady state. So, we will see a gradient in concentration in reality, and this thing we can show, may be very difficult with smoke experimentally, but with humidity it is very easy. So, I will give an example with humidity, that one I will give on next page. Let us say there is some medium in between over here, even it can be solid also, this medium. On over here there is air with high moisture content, here there is air with little less moisture content. What I am trying to tell over here, moisture content or moisture concentration is very high on this side. Let us say some number it is there, 100. On this side moisture content is little bit less, 50. I have not defined the units. So, believe it or not, inside this medium it can be brick, it is some material made of the house is made of this material, let us say it is brick. So, moisture will travel inside over here, and what is allowing this diffusion to take place? It is this gradient, this difference in concentration of the species. So, what are the two material? Because we always require two material for creating the mass diffusion. So, the main material, the main medium was air and little bit of moisture inside. Same thing over here, there is air and then there is moisture. And what is the medium over here? It is brick. So, the main medium is brick, because this is a wall, right. This is a wall I am considering in exterior wall of my house. So, inside brick also then water vapor is travelling, isn't it beautiful? And this is true. In this chapter we will do examples where there is a very strong spherical container so thick, so several centimeters thick, it has pressurized hydrogen inside it at high pressure. Believe it or not, even though this is metal, we will calculate very soon what is the rate at which hydrogen is diffusing out of this particular metallic container. So, even inside the metal, like let us say it is made of iron or nickel and it is several centimeters thick, the mass flow rate will be very less. It would maybe turn out to be 5 gram or 10 gram per year, depending on the surface area of this particular spherical tank, the pressure inside, the concentration of H2 at that boundary condition. But believe it or not, answer will turn out to be something like this particular expression. So, what was that? dAB A dC divided by dK. All I will have to do is convert it into spherical coordinates, which means inside even the solid, inside even liquid, gases can definitely travel. And one very good example for that is inside any water body, maybe in a lake if we go or in a river, there is always some dissolved oxygen. So, if I can draw a fish over here, maybe some sort of a fish, let us say The reason is this fish is able to live because it requires oxygen, which I will represent in green color over here. So, there is a lot of oxygen in the air. So, all the human beings including me and you, we are able to breathe this oxygen and live. But how will this oxygen reach the fish? Fish is not using the oxygen from H2O. There is no way it can split that molecule. It is because of that property that this dissolved oxygen is present inside over here. Just as in our cold drink, if we buy from market some sort of a cold drink, I am representing like this. So, there is a cold drink over here. As soon as we open, so this is a carbonated cold drink, right? So, as soon as we open, this CO2 comes out. So, the same principle is there, that gases, they are dissolved. They so those things we will study in the subsequent lectures, that there are some level up till which it can be dissolved, and it is very nice that this particular thing over here, which means that all this transfer of species can take place across different mediums. So, coming back to our example over here, what we are seeing is, if we are having two boundary conditions, in this particular case allow it to reach steady state. So, I am showing now in yellow color, I want to use a different color, green color over here. So, what we will get is, under steady state, that huge amount of concentration of H2O will be over here, that will reduce to half at this particular point. So, if I have a good drawing experience, then I can actually show the gradient of these dots. So, not the change in height, but the change in their pixel density. So, this is very interesting concept. So, the same thing that we are able to see in wall, like shown on the left side over here, we are able to see inside a medium where there is change in concentration. So, mass flow rate is taking place, just like heat transfer is taking place for the wall case. I hope this point is clear to student. If it is clear, then let us try and remember what are the different cases of steady state conduction that we used to study in the first few lectures of this course. This was the easiest one, was case A, where if I have a temperature here over here, temperature is less, then heat transfer is taking place over here. You remember there was another case in which heat generation would be taking place inside the wall. Even if I have the two same temperature on the other side, T1 and T1, in middle we used to calculate the value of T max. And here we used to see that the Q dot I will put over here. So, here Q dot is taking place in these two particular directions, because there is a finite energy generation term inside this whole wall. I hope students remember that part, which means this I will call as case B. For case A, we have already drawn for the concentration gradient. It looks exactly similar like this. Very soon we will figure out, even for case B, there will be an exact analogy over here, which means in the middle of the wall or the middle of the medium, that particular concentration of that particular medium. So, let us say I am taking smoke and air pair, which means our medium is air and the species that I am tracking is smoke. So, if there is some sort of a smoke generation which is taking place, which means now I will ask the student a question, that in case of heat transfer, energy generation is uniformly taking place inside the wall. In case of mass transfer, what is the quantity which will be generated uniformly inside the wall? So, it is the mass. So, in the case of heat transfer, it was energy which was being generated, it was felt in the form of temperature, and then it flowed in the form of conduction heat transfer. So, in the case of mass transfer, it will be the species which is created, which means species in this case is smoke. How is smoke created? Which means at each place inside this medium, some sort of combustion is taking place, which means this is exactly true if I am talking about some combustion taking place inside a furnace or a chimney. So, in the middle we will have highest concentration. Let us go back to the slide, very interesting example. In the middle we will have the highest concentration of smoke, and then as we go towards the edges on both sides, the concentration will reduce to C1. And I can draw with the red arrow over here. In the first case, this is the direction of diffusion of mass. In the second case, it will be half over here diffusion and half over here diffusion. Isn't it interesting? So, we have clearly shown that in this particular case, instead of energy generation, we will have species generation. So, how do I write it? M dot gen, or species of generation of species. So, I am just trying to show that there is absolute analogy in this particular case, in several cases, maybe not in all cases, but I am trying to create some interesting example. Let me take one more example, and I will ask the students for conduction. I think they should remember. Let us say this is the half of the wall, then the temperature profile is like this. So, I will put some numbers over here. If this is T1, this is T2, T3, and of course, heat transfer rate is same throughout the wall. Maybe it is 60 watt, 60 watt, 60 watt throughout, Q dot, Q dot, Q dot. So, if I ask the students, please tell me why is the slope changing? So, I think we remember from our conduction class that if it is steady state, then it looks like there are two sections of the wall which are having different material property. If this section 1, section 2, which will have higher thermal conductivity, the one with low gradient or one with higher temperature gradient. So, if you forgotten, please remember it, it should be the one with lower temperature gradient will have higher thermal conductivity, which means K1 in this case is much greater than K2. What is K? Thermal conductivity of the wall. So, left side of the wall has higher thermal conductivity than right side of the wall. Is it possible for mass transfer? Absolutely. Which means I can have inside a particular medium over here this type of concentration which is having an abrupt change in slope. So, here concentration is C1, concentration here is C2, and it is C3 at this particular point, which means in the medium there is a change in the medium. Here I will say this is medium number 1, in the wall it is medium number 2. Here also I will say this is medium number 1 and this is medium number 2. And in the wall case, heat transfer case, that medium we have recognized is K. So, we are talking K1, K2 which is greater. In the case of mass transfer where smoke is being generated, which variable are we differing? If you go back to the equation over here, then what was the variable which is analogous to K? So, I think we have already recognized that is D. I have not defined what is D, by the way, but I will write over here. I think we have defined somewhere, we have not defined, I think here we have defined. This one is the mass diffusivity, because these are all diffusivity, heat diffusivity, momentum, this is mass diffusivity. So, I think students know little bit about this one. Formally I have not defined, but little bit. So, there D1 value will be greater than D2. How is it greater? Because the slope of concentration is less here, this slope, this angle is less and this angle is much larger, which means D1 has to be greater than D2. Now, we will talk about what parameters does mass diffusivity depend upon. So, then we will ask the same question in heat transfer, on what material property does the thermal conductivity depend on. So, if half of the wall is copper, half of the wall is brick, in copper thermal conductivity is 400, in brick thermal conductivity is maybe 1 or 2 watts per meter Kelvin, maybe 5. So, what is causing this 80 times or maybe 70 times difference? You remember we had that explanation that how does the heat travel inside a rod. So, it is the vibration in the case of solids, it is the movement of the molecules in the case of liquids and in the case of gases, and also in solids is the motion of the electron also. So, in the metals very high thermal conductivity is observed. So, here we will find out what parameter does mass diffusivity depend on. So, there could be various answers to that. Formally we will define later, but I can give some knowledge about that beforehand, that generally speaking the diffusivity in solids is less, than higher in liquids, then very high in gas, because inside gas we can obviously see that the smoke molecule can travel very further but if you put a brick wall over here, still it will be able to go, but very, very slowly through that. Why is that? Because the interatomic spaces inside solids is much smaller. So, if the molecules are like this, let us say this is the brick structure, I am just drawing an approximate diagram, and in the black color I will show over here, maybe this is the smoke molecule. It may find it difficult to travel because the spaces in the intermolecular space may be less. If these spaces was much higher, then it will be able to go faster. Another dependent parameter is temperature. If I increase the temperature, so that is what will answer my question of the first slide over here. You remember we were talking about the temperature difference between A and B. So, it so appears, if you see in the last frame of the video over here, that this one becomes yellow throughout from the top to bottom. Here this is little bit less. So, it may so happen that Ta is much greater than Tb. I am assuming everything else is same in this particular case. So, this thing just came in my mind, so I will share with the students. But coming back to this particular case, we can clearly write over here that whatever is the D mass diffusivity value of medium 1, it is clearly much greater than the value of D2. I hope this analogy concept is clear to students. So, in this particular slide, we have looked at the very nice analogy between conduction heat transfer and mass diffusion in stationary medium. I think we have time for one more slide. Let us try and see the analogy for transient heat transfer or even transient mass transfer. What do I mean by that? You remember in our wall, we considered one case earlier on when we started the transient chapter. So, let us say initially the whole wall is at the uniform temperature 10 degree, and we are heating it in such a way that here we are heating it more on the left side, and here we are heating little bit less on the right side, such that eventually the temperature profile of the wall after several hours it will become like this. It may become 40 degree over here and 30 degree over here. So, this was a transient problem for heat conduction in one dimension, and if you remember, this is the way we had explained. Here the temperature will be much higher on the left side, little bit lower, then it will go like this. So, these are the intermediary stages, and then eventually the temperature will go like this, and whatever we are drawing lines over here, these are the temperature contours as a function of time. I think with looking at this, students have remembered what we were talking about in the previous lecture. Can the same thing, now the question is very interesting, can the same thing occur for transient mass transfer as well? What do we mean by that? Initially the whole air is having the constant value of smoke inside it, then suddenly from both the sides we are giving some supply of smoke with the boundary conditions kept under certain conditions. And after several hours, 2-3 hours, will there be inside that particular medium air a very nice linear gradient of smoke? So, let us start with that particular example, and the answer is yes. If initially concentration value is C, I stands for initial. So, this stands for initial, this is the initial condition, and finally it is in such a way that the smoke has to have a value of C1 on this side and C2 on this side. So, just to put some numbers over here, maybe this is 100, this is 100, this is 900, and this is 600, and the units we will discuss in next class. What do we mean by that? Then exactly the same thing will happen as in the case of heat transfer, that certain smoke molecules will diffuse from the left side mainly, little bit on the right side, it will go like this, go like this. Then there will be smoke molecules throughout, and their concentration is increasing. It will become more smoky, more smoke. Finally, it will become maximum smoke on this particular side, huge amount, then medium in between, then little bit less on this side. And whatever we were drawing over here, these are function of time. So, we have seen very nicely that there is full analogy even for the transient case as well. And we have seen in previous slide that for steady state, of course, there is a full analogy over here. And let us also look at the concepts that we have studied before that. We have looked at the not looked at formal definition of concentration, but more or less from our experience and the physical point of view we have tried to look. And of course, we have started off this particular chapter with this video over here. And my question to students, whether we can put some sort of a temperature comparison between these two particular cups over here, and in the end we try to answer that particular question, that it seems if every other condition is same in these two, that perhaps Ta may have higher temperature than Tb, because here the mixing takes place much faster than in the other case. So, diffusion, it looks like it much faster. And the first thing that we will do in next lecture is that we will formally look at the Fick's law of diffusion, and then from there on we will have the full mathematical treatment of whatever we have discussed today. So, I hope you have understood the clear examples that I have shown in order to show that there is a very good analogy in the temperature profile compared to the concentration profile, not just for the steady case, but for transient case as well, not just for one or two boundary conditions, but for many boundary conditions, such as energy generation becomes species generation in that case, different material slabs which are put together for the wall case, it becomes different mediums which are put together for the passage of smoke. So, I think I hope you find it interesting. So, with that we will meet in the next lecture. Thank you.